Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Beedon, joined by the only, the one,
Wait, what?
self, Gray Albright. That was a great introduction there, Greg. Perfect
Oh
timing.
God, man, come on, man, dude. It's like I get one introduction per week.
Yep, and I give you the same one usually. I've kind of locked in the intro and the outro. I'm too lazy to change it really.
I know
I
where
need
to.
ChatGPT to build me a new one really.
I'm gonna. I think I think I'm gonna have to have my barista this week give me one intro just to make up for my lack of intro from you. I need.
Well,
I need one intro per week. Otherwise, it's just like I'm off balance. My equilibrium's all messed up.
You've been getting 2 a week, so I feel like we're just going to average them out slowly over the next few weeks. Get back to one. Keep your ego in check a little bit.
That's true. I did have 2 intros a week. Man, I was doing good there. I didn't even know how good I had it.
Honestly, without the mustache, it's a little bit. I mean, the intro is just lacking a little bit without the mustache. It's been an adjustment still trying to figure out how to what else to address.
It's only been 3 years. We're just still working on it. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. We'll get there.
We will, Gray. We will eventually figure out this podcasting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz Chisholm apparently has figured out the golf thing, Gray. He hit a 323-yard albatross, so that's a hole in one on a par 4 for you that don't know what an albatross is. And he did it looking exactly like Tyrone Biggums from Dave Chappelle stand-up show, using a practice ball from the range. He has an A shirt is what we'll call it. If you don't know what that is, it used to go by a different name. And then it has a red beanie. So just Tyrone Biggums to the full extent at a private country club that costs more than probably I make in my lifetime, Gray.
I just want to say, I want to go on the record of saying that, good for him. But I'll go on the record of saying most of the words you just said aren't in the English language, as far as I'm concerned. I literally have no idea what you're talking about. I got to Jazz Chisholm Jr. and then like my eyes started glazing over, and then you were like, he hit a 323-yard albatross, and I'm like, wait, what? Did he hit a bird? Wait, what? And then you're like Tyrone Biggums, and I'm like, yeah, you're really losing me, bro. And then you went to A shirt. I have no idea what you're talking about, with a red beanie, and then you finished with on a golf course, and that was when I realized I was absolutely correct in tuning you out because I had no idea what you're talking about.
There's people that are listening that really enjoyed that, Gray. I do think there's a good crossover section between fantasy baseball and golf. So hopefully the people listening understood and enjoyed that. And also the show. You're the only one.
I feel like you're taking a little bit of a leap here and assuming that there's a crossover between a sport that is 50 to 70-year-old white men and
another sport that is 50 to 70-year-old white men.
And then there's golf, which is
the same exact thing, Gray. The exact same. So yes, I assume there's a decent amount of crossover in those two markets. I think if we just went on a golf tangent for like 20 minutes, there'd be a solid percentage of the podcast to be like, it's different, but I don't hate it.
I will say that actually brings up a good point because this is like we did the position rankings podcast already. If people want to listen to them, they should go listen to them. Those were previous weeks, and now we're a little bit more freewheeling, as people can tell already. And don't hit the fast forward button. We will get to baseball, but don't hit the fast forward button. That ain't cool. So I will say that your ability to speak golf is probably like way more in the wheelhouse of our average listener, right? And I always found it interesting how, like, when I spoke about rap music on the site, people didn't just immediately like close out the site. Like, why is he talking about rap music? Like, I'm pretty sure I am the least likely target audience for fantasy baseball, and you playing golf are a way more likely target audience. So we should actually, you're right, we should talk about golf every week. So go Jazz, and way to get an albatross.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what hole in one is, Gray?
No idea.
We start at that level. Okay.
I don't know. I could guess, but I don't know.
All right, we will just move on. Let's, Fun the Jewels is maybe the best nickname in all of baseball. So, I mean, rap definitely fits in as well, Greg. Something that fits into our podcast are the leagues that we're doing. Obviously, the RCLs, those are filling up. If you want in, you need to sign up because they're already drafting, and we're going to run out of spots. The Razz Slam starts on Wednesday, so pretty much this week, Greg, we will be drafting Razz Slam. I'm super excited about that. I love that format. And then, of course, I have the podcast league that I'm trying to fill. It's about half filled right now. It is a slow auction. If you want in, let me know via X or come to one of the comment sections and let me know. Gray, rankings update. As you can watch on YouTube, you can see Gray's little line underneath his name here. He is the #1 fantasy baseball ranker. Now, last week, he said it was over the last 3 years he had been the #1 each year. That's not true. He has not been first the last 3 years.
I didn't say that.
That's exactly. I will run it back.
No, you can splice in what I said last week if you like, but it's going to be lies what you're saying right now, because I didn't say that at all. I said
absolutely what I said.
From 2023 through 2025, I was the #1 ranker. That's over the course of I don't know how many years. We went through this already. I don't know how many years that is, but from 2023 to last year, I was the #1 ranker. I wasn't #1 every year. Over the course of that time, I was #1 in congregate. That's what I said. That's it.
Well, we will let the audience decide whether that's true or not. Also, when I splice it in and it says exactly what I said, we'll also hear that. So, yeah. But yes, Gray, you were the #1 in the overall standings over on Fantasy Pros and theirs is years. It doesn't say 3 years or what number of years. It says years. So you have been the #1 for quote unquote years, Gray. Also, as an update, I was not last, Gray.
I think that's better though, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, yeah, I was #1 last year." It's like, okay, but you know what's better than last year? Years. That's what's better.
I think so, Gray. I think that is the best way to do it. Also, I was not last. Not last at all. Not there. And to be fair, Gray, unlike I believe the #2 over years, I don't just compile everyone else's rankings and projections and say they're my own. I actually make my own. So I do feel good that at least if I'm earning a bad ranking, it is my own. And a lot of it is just me burying people I don't want to draft. And that's really for the fans. I want them to know you shouldn't draft these people like Luis Rengifo Jr. Like, you just shouldn't draft him. So I don't rank him.
Unless you know something I don't know. There's no junior.
Is it not? I really thought it was junior.
Yeah,
for so long.
That's why your rankings are so bad, because you're ranking.
I'm ranking the kids.
You're ranking children of the players. You're not ranking.
Hey, Vlad the Third is going to be a monster. Don't you worry about that, Gray. He's going to finally hit the home runs and the average for. I mean, basically like his grandpa, because his grandpa did both. All right, great. Let's get into some baseball stuff. We're going to talk some very sexy draft names that are probably climbing up draft boards as we speak. Konnor Griffin. I mean, there's not a sexier name in all of baseball right now. He has 3 home runs already in spring training. Do you think he can join Juan Soto, Mike Trout, Justin Upson, Jurickson Profar as opening day roster teenagers for the Pirates? or are the Pirates going to do what the Pirates do and send him down for a few months to work on defense?
Defense. I think they're going to send him down to work on his bunting drills. I actually, so right before we're recording this podcast, I moved Konnor Griffin up in my my shortstop rankings because I do feel like there's a certain point when it's like, Colson Montgomery, it's fine. Actually, I like Colson Montgomery. Like, I won't completely disparage him, but it's like Colson Montgomery or the upside of Konnor Griffin. So yeah, I mean, there is a certain bit of like, and if you're in a league where Konnor Griffin is, I feel like in any league where at a certain point upside is worth it, even if you don't think the Pirates are going to break camp with a guy or with this guy specifically. I think, there's like, if he has anywhere close to, say, within, like, I feel like Chris Bryant, when he came up with the Cubs, I believe it was 3 weeks in, roughly, and 3 weeks into April. And he had, more or less like, 5 months of a season. If we get that, it's worth it to draft Konnor Griffin in that range of also, again, of like the Colson Montgomery, like, you're in the upside range. You've depleted kind of most of the sure bets. I didn't move him. Like, Konnor Griffin could potentially be a top 5 shortstop this year. I mean, I'm not going to sell him short. He is capable of it, but I didn't move him up that high. I moved him up to where I think at that point I moved him up to roughly around 150 overall. So in that range, you're at a point where it's like, yeah, it's fine. Take a flyer, see what happens. And in shallower leagues, if you can't stash him and he gets sent down, then you make a decision as to whether or not you want to drop him. But a guy, you're in a shallow enough league, you're going to be able to pick up a guy off of waivers who's going to be able to give you, like, again, Colson Montgomery was a guy who was on waivers last year. So there's going to be guys who are available in shallower leagues. And then in like deeper leagues, I think it's probably worthwhile to pick up to draft Konnor Griffin in the 150 range because, again, like, you can just get a guy later on. Like, if you're looking at, like, you grab Konnor Griffin and then you go with a guy later on who is going to definitely give you, like a Chase Madriff or something, a guy who's going to definitely, or a Zach McKinstry, a guy who's definitely going to give you at bats. You can find guys like that in deeper leagues. So you're able to avoid like having a hole in your lineup. Now, of course, it depends on the league. If you're in an NL only league, I could see Konnor Griffin going for, I want to say he went for, I think last week we were in an NL only league, and I want to say he went for like $17 to $19. So, that's probably, I want to say, like top 50 overall in that range. So, yeah, I mean, it's NL only, so there's a lot fewer options, obviously. But yeah, I think it's so he's put on such a show in spring training at this point. I think you really have to start thinking about how, you want to draft him just on the off chance he breaks camp. And, for be realistic, I think 3 weeks to a month into the season is probably what we're looking at. And if it's any longer than that, there might actually be riots in Pittsburgh. I mean, there's literally no reason why he should be in the minors. There's zero reason other than they're dragging their heels on service time. And at a certain point, you don't need to drag your heels past like May 1,
Yeah, I agree. It seems crazy that he would even get sent down, but he's probably going to get sent down unless he signs some kind of deal through his, through his arbitration years and probably another year or two on the back end. And I've heard some people say, well, Paul Skeens would say he wants Konnor Griffin there. Well, Skeens probably isn't re-signing either. So I don't know that there's a whole lot he can do about it. Let's say, in your rankings, Gray, I believe you currently have him at 18th among shortstop. Would that change in, say, a shallower league or one with like a minor league spot where you can you actually have a place to stash him? Would you move up? Or are you still going to kind of take everybody that you have above him, before you take the shot on the upside with Konnor Griffin?
Yeah, I mean, I have the guys directly above him are Dansby Swanson and Xavier Edwards. Those guys are, they are sure bets for what they do. Now, Xavier Edwards isn't going to have the power of Konnor Griffin, obviously, and Dansby Swanson is probably not going to have the speed. But it's like at that point you're choosing between actual like sure bets for fantasy. Like above, right above that is Bo Bichette, B. Don's favorite player. Then you have like Corey Seager and Jeremy Pena. Like it's like at a certain point, I put him in a place where I feel like he's draftable for, I have him actually Jacob Wilson. I have right above him. So it's like Jacob Wilson's going to give you a 300 average and very little power and very little speed, but good average. And then Konnor Griffin's going to give you upside, and I upped his projections as well. I have him at 15 homers, 20 steals, and a 267 average. It's probably pretty conservative, but it's still, it's higher than any projections I saw. Most projection systems have them, projections with rookies really, like they really dock rookies a lot.
Yes, they do.
System. So I have Konnor Griffin where I would draft him for all leagues. At this point, he's actually, I think I said 150. He's at 141 overall. And his ADP over the last week is 134. So yeah, I have him about at ADP. I think that's fair. I think we'll see. If he signs a deal and then it becomes an absolute definite that he's breaking camp, I think then you have to start thinking, okay, is he top 75 overall? Like in the let's see who's there. Nico Horner's up there. Maikel Garcia, Nico Horner, Konnor Griffin. Yeah, I think that's probably. I think he gets bumped up to inside the 100, the top 100, if he signs a deal and the Pirates say he's breaking camp.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I feel like 100, especially this year, is kind of the land of like, I hope he breaks out, or there's like a bunch of safety guys, and then there's obviously the pitchers who go in that range. So it's, it feels like the right range for him.
How would this? If he signs a deal and he's definitely breaking camp, him or Corey Seager?
Yeah, I feel like I'd go Seager just because we know when he plays, he's good. There's a non-zero chance. We've seen it before that Konnor Griffin comes up and it's just, he's not quite ready as we thought he was. I would go Seager, but that's pretty tough. I'm probably more likely to say like him or Bo, if I'm being honest, because of my disdain for Bo Bichette in general.
Right. Well, that's right after the 100. So yeah. So that's up about 40 spots in ADP. So that's around 100 overall. So it's Corey Seager, Jeremy Pena, Trevor Story, Bo Bichette, Konnor Griffin. It would be that range if he signs a deal and he's breaking camp. Probably.
Yeah. I think that's about right. Let me ask you this one, because it's a very popular player, and we talked about how much we love him. Would you rather have him or Luke Keeschel, who, does have a job, we assume. Obviously we got a peek at him last year and everything looked great. Where are you leaning on Luke Keeschel versus Konnor Griffin?
That's tough because I have Keishel pretty high. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, like, I mean, Konnor Griffin is, I mean, it is so, like, the park. I mean, the park isn't great in Minnesota either. It's like there's so much unknown. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're real close though, because like I see Keishel as 15 homer, 30 steal, 260. And even as harsh as projection systems are with Konnor Griffin, they have him, like, Zips has him for 14 homers, 32 steals, 261 in a full season. The Bat has him for it's down to 90 games, so
it's games related.
So it's not a full season, but it'd be roughly around the same, probably like 15, 27, 255 in that range, probably be the Bat. It's tough. I think I'd go Keishel, but Konnor Griffin. It's probably a toss-up. It's a tough one. I feel like in some leagues I would go Konnor Griffin, in some leagues I go Keishel, because I do want some of both. If that's in the scenario where he signs a deal and we know he's breaking camp.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think as of right now, where we don't know that it's Keishel, I think if they sign the deal, I would probably lean Konnor Griffin, because I just think the upside is that much more potentially. But Keishel feels a lot more secure in that we've seen it. And again, he has a job. But again, if he signs a deal, that changes everything. Let's move on to another name here, Gray. Kevin McGonigle has been absolutely raking. He's hitting 400, 471, 667. He's had a couple of balls in a single game go 107, 108 miles per hour. Always been a terrific hit tool. Some say it's the best in the minors. He has good power. He, has never really had strikeout issues in the minors. And I mean, he's been great. What are your thoughts on Kevin McGonigle? And then, Tigers, not the Pirates, but do you think that he gets a chance to break camp?
Well, actually, I just remembered that I did talk to someone who knows prospects pretty well. And they said they didn't think Konnor Griffin or Kevin McGonigle are going to break camp. They felt like neither of them were breaking camp. So that's not me saying it. It's just that was what I was told. So Kevin McGonigle, I think he's probably below. I moved him up too. So in the shortstop rankings, I moved him up too. So he's below Konnor Griffin for upside, I believe. He's also, like, he's got an insane hit tool. Like, he could probably, like with Luke Keishel and McGonigle, like, these guys could probably hit for a 280 plus average, even as, like, barely out of, the minors. For Keishel and McGonigle is just would be barely out. So McGonigle's, he's got, like, a fantastic hit tool. I've actually started watching a little bit of him, so I'm on that train. I like the McGonigle train. I'm moving into it. I'm trying not to have confirmation bias, because in our AL only league, which we drafted last week, I did draft McGonigle. So I'm trying not to be biased just because I drafted him, but that probably plays a little bit into this, because I got him for $9 in an AL only auction. I moved him up to 200 overall. So I have him below Konnor Griffin, who I have at 141, as we mentioned. So I do think McGonigle he's got less loud tools when it comes to, like, the 5 tools. So I think the hit tool is loud enough, absolutely loud. But the power and speed are going to be less than, Konnor Griffin, for instance. Still good though. I mean, not bad. Like, don't get me wrong. Again, it's a terrible park, but Pittsburgh's a terrible park too. I think McGonigle is likely I feel like he's more likely, to me at least. Like I said, I talked to someone and they said he's not breaking camp. But for me, I feel like McGonigle has a better chance of breaking camp, to be totally honest. I think the Tigers are more likely to let McGonigle play from opening day. Maybe signs a deal, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I think he's got a legit shot, because they're rolling him out there with the regulars. He's playing, and they're raving about his defense. They're playing him a lot. Like he's getting reps as if he were to actually be the starter. And they really don't have anyone else. It's, like the Pirates don't either, but the Pirates are, I think, much more cheap than Tigers. I mean, the Tigers aren't exactly rolling in the dough, but I do think McGonigle has a legit shot here. I like him, but I don't like him as much as Konnor Griffin, even if they were both breaking camp. I would still have Konnor Griffin above McGonigle. And McGonigle, I think, if McGonigle is definitely breaking camp, I think he moves up to like maybe 150, 160 overall. He's still not going to be in the top 100 for me, at least. I just don't see it happening. Even if the Tigers say he's breaking camp, I don't think he's moving up that much, because I just think I just feel like the tools are just a little quieter, with tools that really matter for our game, at least for fantasy. Like right now I moved them up to 400 at bats, and I have them projected for 12 homers and 12 steals. It's fine. I mean, there's upside, obviously. You never know. He could like break out in a huge way. So I do think there's room there for upside, but I think he's also just a lot less interesting than Konnor Griffin, even though I feel like he's a little bit of a safer bet to possibly get more at bats.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said across the board. I think there's more likely he breaks camp, but I don't think either are. There's been positive reports about his defense, but there's also been some like underlying reports saying, oh, we're not sure about his defense at shortstop. So I could definitely see them just saying, oh, he's going down for defensive purposes and sending him down for 3 weeks. And I agree that, even if he signed and we knew he was coming up, or they just said like Kevin McGonigle is going to be our starting shortstop or third baseman even, I feel like his draft price would still be below Konnor Griffin without that guarantee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
All right, let's move on, Gray. Let's move over to Zac Veen, who is up 45 pounds. He has stopped drinking, and usually people lose weight, but apparently he put it on. What's your thoughts here?
He's done. Is this like a Dr. Nick with Homer? Like, instead of drinking water, drink milkshakes. Zac Veen gained 40 pounds in like 4 months. Like that's like that news, I think, was from like 2 weeks ago. By this point, he could be up another 15 pounds. He could be by July. Zac Veen could be 600 pounds. That's what we're saying. It could basically be like, we have to build the stadium around Zac Veen because we can't get him into the doors anymore. Zac Veen is it's gonna be like the Rockies tour, the Rockies bus. It's gonna be like one bus for Zac Veen, everyone else got to Uber. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I wonder if MLB is pulling Zac Veen in for testing sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's
40
crazy.
pounds. How do you gain 40 pounds, quote unquote, legally in like 4 months? And
other than eat McDonald's every day, I don't know, Greg.
And have it be muscle.
Yeah, that's absolutely absurd. I'm sure there's somebody who listens to us who's actually in shape. It's like, oh, that's definitely doable, but it seems absolutely crazy.
A lot. So there's because I've been to Vegas for the main event with NFBC. So I've been in a collection. I've been in a room with like 500 fantasy baseball people, and there is 1% that are crazy jacked.
Yeah,
so
just random ones.
It is. I don't know if they're listening to Razzball, but there is like every like third league, there'll be like one person who's like jacked out of their mind.
we lost like 1% of them, Gray, when you did the Conseco interview back in the day. They were really disappointed by that. So we lost a little bit of that audience at one point. But Zac Veen, let's talk about him real quick though. Outside of just making jokes here, Gray, he has 2 home runs already in spring training. He's hitting 286, 334, 714. All these are obviously a small sample. 40% K rate. K was an issue last year at a very small sample, but he's not really had a problem in the minors. I think maybe the question though is like the one decent thing for the Rockies is the outfield. Like, does he have a job that makes him interesting enough to draft in, a standard league? Or are we talking 15 team and only zone like depth?
So Zac Veen revealed that he stopped drinking and gained 40 pounds. What was he drinking? What was he drinking? Was he drinking like light beer? Like what was like what? I don't understand the correlation between I got sober and I gained 40 pounds, other than like you gained, like, I could see it, I guess, if you're eating instead, but he didn't eat. He gained muscle. So I'm still caught up on the 40 pounds that he gained, obviously.
Maybe he just stays in the gym now. He's like, I was at the bar for like 6 hours a night. I'll just go to the gym for 6 hours a night.
Yeah, maybe he's like, I don't need to go to the saddle ranch and get on the mechanical bull. I'm going to stay here and do the weights. Or I can't even. I'm so not the guy who even could make a joke about the gym because I've never been. I don't know what the gym is.
It's like, what does it look like?
I can't even say
how are the smells.
I can't. Okay, so anyway,
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to break camp. I don't know where he would actually play if he were to break camp. I guess like it's tough because like they have, like you mentioned, they have an outfield already. Doyle, McCarthy, and and Jordan Beck.
And even Moniak.
Jordan Beck, Doyle, I think are Jordan Beck and Doyle, I think, are locked in. And then a DH, Mickey Moniak is there too. So Mickey Moniak is the replacement if those first 3 guys can't go, then you have Mickey Moniak who's going to go. So then it's like, so where does Zac Veen fit into this exactly? And 40 pounds extra of muscle. He can't fit into many places anymore. He can't fit into his suits. I mean, the poor guy's got to buy all new clothes. I don't know, man. The Zac Veen thing feels like a flyer for in deeper leagues just to see, like, especially like draft and holds, because you draft them and see if something works out here for you. But I don't know. I think he's going to be on the outside looking in of playing time, unless an injury happens. Like that could totally happen. I mean, if one of those guys I mentioned goes down, then Zac Veen would probably move into would automatically, I think, move to the top of the heap for that. But will Zac Veen play part-time in the major leagues, or will they just send him to the minors? I feel like he's probably going to the minors. I don't see, like, it doesn't really make sense to have like him back up the guys I mentioned, like on the bench and play, occasionally. I just don't see why they would do that, because first of all, he's a lefty, which is with Jack McCarthy and Mickey Moniak are both lefties. So it's like, well, that kind of takes that out of the equation, because you're not going to, I don't think you are going to platoon Jordan Beck or Brenton Doyle, because they're your starters. They should be starters. Brenton Doyle did have a wrist injury that I believe they were talking about. I think he's fine though, so I don't want to make a big deal out of that. I don't know. I don't know where Zac Veen fits in to all this. So, I mean, I guess as a flyer late, I still haven't added them to my rankings and projections. I just don't see the playing time.
Yeah, no, I pretty much agree. I don't know where he is. And like the best case is really like they decide they want a left-handed bat on the bench and he gets occasional time, barring injury. I just don't see where it comes from. I'm with you. I think it's a late flyer in deeper leagues and somebody you're okay cutting. He has some upside. He definitely has speed and he has a little bit of pop. So it's not like he's completely useless in any one category, but I don't know that he's necessarily going to be like a stud in any category either. Like he's probably like a 240 handful of home runs and maybe a 20 stolen base guy. Like that's not overly exciting, even if he does get the call completely, to be honest. So
yeah, I think probably like I think his strikeouts still. I don't think his strikeouts are completely solved either. Like you mentioned the when he came up, and also the spring training strikeouts, which is a small sample size. So I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, can he hit lefties? Can he hit in the majors? I don't know. I mean, just because the guy gained 40 pounds, I don't know. I mean, is he a better linebacker now? Sure. But, I mean, I don't know if it's going to work for baseball. I don't know.
Yeah, and I will say strikeout rate is the stat that stabilizes the fastest. Like it does not take that long to kind of figure out if you are a K problem or not. So, I mean, he's had 50 plus plate appearances. I think it's somewhere between 60 and 100. It pretty much normalizes strikeout rate. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm with you. I don't think the strikeouts are really solved. Again, he did have a problem in the minors with them, but the minors, especially AAA Colorado, is different than played in the majors, even in Colorado.
And I think in our NL only league, which is about as deep as a league you're going to find, it was a 12-team NL only league. I believe he went for like $1 or $2, maybe $3. I mean, he went $1. Was it $1? Yeah. I mean, he was basically free at the end of drafts. Like no one, like it wasn't like people moved him up their draft sheets. It was still like, yeah, here $1 flyer at the end of a 12-team NL only league. I mean, that's like not even draftable in a mixed league outside of like a draft and hold.
Yep. Completely agree. Let's move on to Chase DeLauter, who is more interesting, Gray. He has only 3 games and 8 plate appearances so far, but he has a home run. He's hitting .625 and has not struck out yet.
Ooh.
I mean, Chase DeLauter is interesting. He would be a worthwhile add to teams. Cleveland kind of sits in the middle, I feel like, of the 2 teams we've talked about, calling up potential guys in Pittsburgh and Detroit. Like Cleveland feels like it's not quite as cheap as Pittsburgh, but also probably a little less or a little more cheap than Detroit. Do you think we get a Chase DeLauter opening day?
So I was just looking up. Yeah, I do. I have him at 231 overall. I have him for basically full at bats outside of a platoon situation because I do think they'll probably platoon him out because he's a lefty, and I don't know. That's just what teams do. Don't make me try and explain it. And then Rudy, I just looked at because I'm currently doing drafts, so I have the war room open. So Rudy has him at 300 overall with 480 at bats. So Rudy thinks he's breaking camp too. 480 at bats that's a full season. 480 plate appearances, which is roughly about the same amount of bats as I have him for. So yeah, I mean, that's, I mean, the bigger problem, I think, and it's not that big a problem if you're looking at a fourth or fifth outfielder, depending on the league size. He doesn't have any speed. So yeah, I mean, he probably is going to hit, 255 maybe with roughly 20 homers. That's not bad. I mean, it's fine. There's, the no speed thing sort of limits his upside. I think his power has more upside than 20 homers, obviously, but you gotta draw the line somewhere. I think his batting average has some upside too from the 255 that I just said. He's probably, he probably could hit 27 homers and 270 potentially. I mean, he's a good hitter. He's a excellent prospect. I think the only problem is no speed, so it limits him a little bit, and he's going to platoon out versus lefties. So you're losing 110-ish at bats, and you're going to lose probably some value at with speed. So you're looking at a guy he's kind of got and he's not a CI. He's not a corner man, but he's kind of has that build of in that range of Christian Walker potentially, if he gets his act together with his average, or a guy who's got 25 homer power and hits 260 with no speed. So that's not bad, but it's got its ceiling, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about players that kind of give you that, a set of stats, it's kind of like Yandy's in that range. Average might be a little higher. Brandon Nemo with a few more stolen bases. Teoscar last year. Those are the kind of the names that you're thinking about in regards to what does it look like if he gets the full season. With obvious upside, anytime we're talking about prospects, there's upside and obviously downside as well. But no, I mean, Chase DeLauter has a great, hit tool in regards to the fact that he doesn't strike out. He does take a walk. He has legitimate power. So it's just kind of like how does the adjustment come? The average hasn't been particularly high in the minors, but I do feel like that could potentially come up as he just kind of grows into being a professional hitter. So yeah, I like Chase DeLauter, currently going around 300 ADP. So not like you have to reach and grab him early. You could definitely wait and take the shot on him. Moving on to another guy that is climbing up draft boards, Gray, and goes ahead of Chase DeLauter in pretty much every draft, and that is J.J. Weatherholt. He has a home run, a stolen base. He's hitting 375, 615, and 750. His ADP is currently sitting around 230. What do you think about J.J. Weatherholt, who is, on the list of, top 10 prospects in baseball?
Yeah, he's one I think potentially it could be because St. Louis is such a garbage team that he might be getting bagged a little bit. Like his value might be taking a hit because people just don't want to be bothered with the Cardinals. Maybe, I don't know, because we talked about McGonigle, a name I say differently every time. We talked about Konnor Griffin, and then it's like J.J. Weatherholt could be as good this year, and no, there's very little hype, at least from where I'm sitting. From what I've heard, I haven't heard a ton of hype about him, but he's as good, for fantasy at least. He's gonna have less power than Konnor Griffin, obviously, but he's gonna have he could potentially have more speed. I mean, he is power, speed, average, what you want to see. JJ Weatherholt can do it. I've since maybe since we did our shortstop podcast, potentially, but I moved Weatherholt up a while ago. I moved I mentioned, I moved Konnor Griffin up just today before the podcast. I moved Weatherholt up, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe even longer ago. Like I assume Weatherholt is going to break camp. Like I'd be kind of shocked if he doesn't at this point, because like, they have nothing else to play for. I mean, it's like depressing. Like St. Louis is really just a pretty awful team. So if Weatherholt isn't playing, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why else to watch the games. That's it. It's kind of like, I mean, Lars Newbar is only going to get you so far here, man.
Maybe Ivan Herrera and the breakout Jordan Walker. That's obviously.
Yeah, Jordan Walker. Well, there's always Jordan Walker, of course. Yeah, I mean, I like JJ Weatherholt. I actually have him above McGonigle. I have him below Konnor Griffin. So I have him at, like 190 overall. So very close to Kevin McGonigle. Pretty, 50 spots lower than Konnor Griffin, though. That's overall. I have them close enough in shortstop rankings. I do have. I will draft JJ Weatherholt. Absolutely. I see no reason why not to. He's got all the, for fantasy. He's basically what you want. He's gonna do it all. It's just a matter of whether or not it's going to happen this year, but I don't see why not. I mean, he's super talented. For what it's worth, Rudy has him at 339 overall. So he has him below even McGonigle. He has him pretty low. He has him below JP Crawford, and yeah, that's low. So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the the lack of like huge ceiling potentially, and he's more of a safe bet to hit for power and speed and average, but not have like huge upside. So maybe that's why there's less hype on him. But yeah, I mean, he's one. I think he's actually. I mean, he could be safer than the other guys we talked about potentially. I feel like there's going to be less downside. He's going to hit. I mean, his strikeouts have always been excellent. He's going to hit for probably a decent average. I like JJ Weatherholt a lot.
Yeah, I do too. As you mentioned, he controls the zone, but not a lot of strikeouts. He takes a lot of walks. He has a little power, a little speed. I mean, you could even say he has, good power, good speed. Me saying a little bit seems a little disrespectful to his skills, so I don't want to do that. I'm with you in where you have him ranked as well. I don't love that we're agreeing on everything, but like I have him in the area of like Colson Montgomery, Xander Bogaerts, Otto Lopez, and it looks like that's about where you have him too. So it feels like we're pretty much in sync with where we would take Weatherholt. And like I said, there's definitely a possibility he out-earns his ADP currently. Definitely a fun prospect there. Moving over to a guy we don't really know a lot about yet, Gray, but is showing some really nice stuff, and that is Munetaka Murakami. Showed nice batted ball skills. He's hitting 385. We said the K's might be an issue in the positional preview, and it still kind of looks like they might be an issue.
Yeah, no, definitely. I did actually since we just today or maybe yesterday I drafted Murakami in a 15-team mixed league. I think I got him. I want to say after 250 maybe. I don't know. I forget, but I did draft him. I like him, and it's also. I think with at a certain point, like in your drafts, you know what you're getting for what your team needs. I think I drafted him actually around like 205 overall. Anyway, what your team needs at a certain point, and my team needed power at third base. I had Jarren Duran and Gunnar Henderson and Lawrence Butler. So I felt like I needed some power. So I took Murakami. And I felt like I could take the hit on average. If you can't take a hit on average, you might want to be careful about Murakami. And if you don't need power, there's no reason to take the risk. But even projection systems that have that are extremely conservative really like him. I mean, we're looking at like Steamer's got him for 32 homers, 8 steals, 230 average. The Bat has him for 31 homers, 10 steals, a 206 average, really low, but okay. Everyone thinks he's a 30 homer guy with 10 steal speed. It's just where's the average going to fall? Yeah, I mean, the average could be an absolute nightmare. So you have to, you have to take that into consideration when you're drafting and where you're going to put them on your team if your team can handle that low of an average. But I like him a lot. I'm pretty high on him.
Yeah, no, I like him too, especially around a 200 ADP for that much power potential is really nice. And really at third base, especially if you missed out early, like he can, I'm not saying he's safe, but it gets pretty boring down there in the bottom of third base. So there's actually a little bit of upside. He just kind of feels like, if you missed out on Suarez 100 picks earlier, like you could take Murakami and get not the same, but probably similar production here. Yeah, I have no problem with him. Again, at cost, absolutely no issue. Still, like I said, he's hitting the ball really well right now. He might be a three true outcome guy. It may be a little Adam Dunn-like, but it's still going to provide value.
Yeah, that's actually a good comparison. He could be a bit of a donkey with like power and speed and no average.
Yeah, that's very possible. We get a Japanese donkey here, and just enjoy what he is. Next up, Craig. Charlie Condon. He has 3 home runs. He's hitting 500, 588, 1143, an ADP after 440, Gray. I mean, I don't usually put a lot into spring training stats and that kind of thing, but he's currently tied for the lead in home runs in spring training with 3. And Colorado does not have anybody who looks like they deserve to start at first base. So, I mean, this is potentially pretty interesting.
Not Troy Johnston. Rockies right now have a guy, when you say his name, most people will be like, did you make up that name?
You talking about the guy from the NFL, the corner? No?
Troy Johnston? Is that really? You're making that name up, right?
Who, by the way, is a 29-year-old prospect.
Yeah, the old 29-year-old prospect. Late bloomer. That's all. Ain't nothing wrong with late bloomers. Yeah, I mean, if we were talking about a normal team, I would say Charlie Condon absolutely should be the first baseman coming out of camp. Will he be? I don't know, man. I don't know what the Rockies are doing. It's so hard to know. I think, unfortunately, too, I think if anything, they're such a dumb organization. I wouldn't be shocked if they platoon them against just lefties or something. Like they're just like, it's like, well, I don't know what they expect from the Rockies. They're just so bad. So yeah. And also, I mean, he is hitting the ball hard in spring training, but I mean, it is spring training and he hasn't really lit up the scoreboard in the minor leagues to this extent, at least. I mean, he does supposedly have power. So at some point it should click, and maybe it has clicked right now. And, it's all coming. It's all like, coming together for him. It's all coming up, Charlie. I don't know, man. I think, if you want to take a flyer, sort of like what I was saying with Zac Veen, if you want to take a flyer at the back end of a very deep league, sure. But, with Charlie Condon, I don't even know, his projections look terrible, kind of a little bit. Like, I don't know, maybe if he's at, if you give him 500 at bats, maybe he's at like a 25 homers, 0, like next to no speed, and hits 250. I think that's fine at first base. It's probably gets you in like the 300 overall range for and you're like a corner man in a 15-team mixed league, like, it could happen. I mean, it's possible. Maybe it comes together in a bigger way. His numbers right now in spring training are not necessarily coalescing with what he's done so far in the minors, so it's a little bit harder to believe. Like, he's never really hit for a good average in the minors. He's in a incredibly, like, it's like the Rockies. I mean, he's in 99 games last year. He hit 14 homers and 268 in the minors, and with not that great of a strikeout rate. It's like, I mean, maybe it's all come together for him, but it's hard to believe right now.
Yeah, I mean, I like the comp that I see for like what he would potentially give you, and this is not going to sound overly flattering, unfortunately, is like maybe like a Cody Clemens from last year type of season, like 120 games, 20 home runs.
Basically,
not a great average.
Basically, Troy Johnston. Unfortunately.
So we've just circled back to maybe Troy Johnston should be the starting first baseman. Is that what we just did?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it feels weird to say
it's hard to know. I mean, it's hard to know, like, based on a week's worth of spring training. It's hard to put too much faith into any of those numbers. Like, we could be here next Monday talking about how he's gone 0 for the last week and still is sitting on 3 homers and is hitting 200 for the week or so. I don't know. It's too early to really draw anything from it.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you're saying. If you want to take a flyer late in drafts, I have no problem with it. As we're referencing our only drafts from last week, in a 12-team, only, he was a $2 player. So don't go out of your way to get Charlie Condon. But if you're in a draft and hold, if you just want to speculate on a first baseman, you can do worse than a first baseman in Colorado potentially. So it's there for you. He's after 440 in ADP, so he's free. And if he keeps hitting well in spring training, sometimes that just carries over for the first month or two, and you get 2 months out of a guy like Charlie Condon, and all of a sudden you can pivot to somebody else and actually get more production. So it's not a bad shot in the dark if that's what you're looking for. Let's move on to some pitchers, Gray. Some really nice names here. Ryan Weathers, he's just going to start climbing ADP drastically. I feel like if he keeps doing this, he had 3 2/3 innings of scoreless ball. He allowed 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, 0 walks. He's already hitting 99 plus in spring training. Walks have kind of been the issue. 0 so far at 3 2/3. That's not any, definitive answer. But what are you thinking about Ryan Weathers?
So, I was in in my 15-team mixed league that I'm drafting with a bunch of Razzball people. I was about to take Ryan Weathers, and the great Knock, a writer at Razzball, he took him right before I was able to, like 3 picks before, and I ended up going with Joe Musgrove instead. Very sexy name. Very sexy Joe Musgrove. So I'm in, man. If Ryan Weathers is going to be, if he's going to be healthy, I like it. I have no problem with Ryan Weathers if he's healthy. That's always been, the problem with him though, is like, can he stay healthy? So he's in spring training. He's not had like a ton of problems staying healthy in spring training for like a week and a half, and then like it all falls apart by like the second to third week of spring training. So we'll see. I mean, if he can manage to like stay healthy and on the mound, then yeah, I mean it's never been the stuff has never been the issue. It's just a matter of whether or not it can stay out there and he can be healthy. That's really it. I mean, it's been like this for like I think going on like a year or two. It's been like this. I personally I feel like he was, I don't remember exactly where I was about to draft him. I think it was like around 230 overall. I was about to take him. His ADP has moved up to 246. in the last week. I have him roughly in that range. Like I have him as the last starter in a 12-team mixed league. It's the the final tier of starters that I think people should draft from in a 12-team mixed league. He's in there. So yeah, I think he is. I want to say he is. But I mean, that sounds right. Like, in like the 250 range where like if you're taking a flyer at the end of your 12-team mixed league, you take a flyer on Ryan Weathers and see if like he can stay healthy. Or if you're in a 15-team mixed league, you take a flyer at 250 as your fourth starter and see if he can stay healthy. Like it's just a matter of health, really, nothing else.
Yeah, I mean that area, especially like among pitchers, is kind of like he fits. He's in the right area, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like he's in amongst like the injury comeback guys, the potential breakouts, like some prospect guys. Like that's the area that you're looking to grab him. So it kind of depends on what you've done with your pitching staff to that point. Do you need a little bit of maybe like a veteran you can kind of count on innings? Are you taking the upside shot? Would you rather do it on a veteran who's coming back from injury, or would you rather do it on somebody like Ryan Weathers, who is younger, coming back from injury? There's those kind of options there. Like Garrett Cole goes right after him, Bryce Miller, right before him was like Joe Musgrove, Matthew Boyd, Zach Gallen. So it just kind of depends on where you want to spread your luck around a little bit in your pitching staff in that area.
Yeah, I just to confirm, I just looked at my rankings and I do have them at 270 overall. So that's the last pitcher, the last round of your 12-team mixed league. So he's in that tier of players for me. Like you mentioned a bunch of them. So he's by Garrett Cole for me, Mike Burrows, Will Warren, Casey Mize, Shane McClanahan. So that range of like your flyer last sort of starter on your 12-team mixed league, or your flyer fourth starter in your 15-team mixed league.
Yeah, it's just what kind of flavor do you like in that flyer role? And maybe you like this next guy, Gray, who's actually kind of going a little bit later than those guys, even still with him having a positive outing, and that is Andrew Painter. Obviously, it has been a while since we saw him at any kind of professional baseball. He threw a few innings last year, but 2 innings of spring training ball is a perfect 2 innings. He had 1 strikeout, no earned run, no hits, no walks. What do you think about Andrew Painter, who again is going at 290 around there in ADP, so about 50 picks later than Ryan Weathers? Are you liking the discount on Andrew Painter, or is this kind of an avoid guy for you?
No, at the point where he's going in drafts, no one's really in a void, because it's like it's all free at that point. I don't think Andrew Painter, he's not in that range for me for a 12-team. He's not in a 12-team mixed league range. Like that doesn't mean he won't eventually be there, because during the season, if he's pitching well, he might be picked up in 12-team mixed leagues. But for now, I don't see him getting drafted there. He's drafted where he's drafted makes sense to me. I think he's got a lot of, he's got to prove some stuff. Like last year, he had the last couple of years? No, just last year. But last year was a mess. Last year was pretty bad for him. 5+ ERA in the minors, 118 innings too. It wasn't like that small of a sample size. His command really got wonky, and he was a good command guy before that. So he's got it. We'll see. I don't mind the flyer in a 12-team mixed league or deeper, just to see maybe if he's put it together. But at a certain point, Zach Wheeler is going to come back, so someone's got to leave that rotation. Like Zach Wheeler is coming back now. It might Taijuan Walker. Injuries could happen. Taijuan Walker could get bumped. It doesn't mean Andrew Painter's definitely getting bumped, but as of right now, like if Zach Wheeler said he's ready tomorrow, Andrew Painter's the guy who's gone. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot more risk with Andrew Painter. I don't mind the flyer, but it's a later flyer.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the velocity is fine, but the control, as you mentioned, does not seem like it's quite there. The numbers last year in AAA were not not impressive. And it wasn't like, oh, well, he was coming back and he got better at the end of the season. Like he was pretty bad all the season in AAA. So we'll see what happens in spring training. If he continues to put up clean outing after clean outing, we will obviously have to adjust and make changes. But I'm not going to change a lot of a 1-2 inning outing that he had in spring training just yet. Let's go over and let's SAGNOF it up. Let's do a little bullpen bop, Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Over in Tampa Bay, Edwin Uceda is dealing with a shoulder impingement. It doesn't sound like he's going to be ready for opening day. They're kind of leaving the door open, but I would bet against it right now. Who are you looking at, and who do you like in the Tampa Bay bullpen right now?
I think Griffin Jacks has got it. Right now, I think Griffin Jacks is coming at a nice discount. I don't really see why it wouldn't be him for the most part as the closer. Even if Uceda is healthy, I think Griffin Jacks could potentially get the saves more or less all year. I mean, we know Kevin Cash likes to mix and match, so it doesn't mean Griffin Jacks is going to get 30 saves. I don't think he's not going to get the opportunity for that many saves, but I do think Griffin Jacks probably like a good discount, a good guy to get it. Like, wherever he's going in drafts, I want to say he's going later than most people, later than, the majority of people who could potentially get 20 plus saves. He's at 225 overall for the last week. So that's not bad. I like Griffin Jacks. I think he's the guy to get, especially with the Uceda shoulder impingement.
Yeah, and you can probably actually grab Uceda even, just at the back end of your draft, throw him in your IL, and then you got both of them. That's not a bad way to go about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Garrett Clevenger gets the odd, lefty heavy lineup save, just because it's Tampa Bay. That's just what they do. Let's move over to Washington, Gray. This is just a huge mess. It could be Clayton Beeter, Seidel Perez, Cole Henry. I don't even know if I said Perez's name right, if I'm being completely honest.
I don't even know if you could have made up all those names. Clayton Beeter? Clayton Beeter. Oh my God. That's ugly, man. What is that? I guess Beeter or Cole Henry. That's so terrible. It's terrible bullpen, man. That's just awful. I don't know. I feel like they're not being drafted very high, and that's for the best. I think Cole Henry's going at 700 overall, and Beeter is currently going at 471 overall. So yeah, this isn't like diamond in the rough kind of stuff, like where it's like, oh, you might be able to get like Victor Vodnik, the Rockies guy. Maybe you get him and maybe he puts up like 25 saves and is decent. I Clayton Beeter and Cole Henry, I don't think they're going to be decent. I would not. I don't know, man. I think some bullpens it's better left to just like don't even bother. It's not even worth it. But I guess if you absolutely need to go for a guy, I guess Beeter is the guy, is the first guy and only guy I would probably go for.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Clayton Beeter. He's got nasty stuff, and if you have nasty stuff, I can't help it. So I actually don't mind Clayton Beeter as a late round guy. Wish I had a pitching spot for him in the NL only. Unfortunately, the way that auction works, if you filled your pitching positions, you can no longer bid on pitchers. That's a fun quirk of that draft board. But yeah, I don't mind Clayton Beeter at all. I don't really want anybody else there right now. It's pretty much of a mess. Over in Minnesota, Gray, this is equally a mess, except at least we saw a few of these guys in the role last year. So I guess that gives us a little bit of a better idea, but still, it seems like it's up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Taylor Rogers is probably like the first guy. And then, yeah, I mean, it's bad. It's real bad. I don't know, man. It's not good though. The problem is Taylor Rogers too. Like, I would say Taylor Rogers' biggest issue is the fact that he's a lefty too. So it's like, do they want to put him in that role? I don't know. It's a hard thing to say. I don't know. The Twins bullpen is bad. I mean, it's really bad, and the Twins team is pretty bad too. So there is that. I don't know. There's also I guess Topa is Justin Topa is I guess that's the best bet. I don't know. I mean, maybe it is Taylor Rogers. I don't know.
I think it kind of is Taylor Rogers. I would say Justin Topa is probably second or / the righty that gets saves. Cole Sands has been mentioned in that as well. I don't think they would go with a lefty other than Taylor Rogers. So if you're looking from that perspective, I do believe it's Taylor Rogers. I mean, he was kind of a mess all last season. It feels like it's just going to continue to be that way, Gray.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, I feel like probably my biggest hesitation is, like, once it's a lefty, like lefties can close, obviously, but if managers are being stupid, then you get like, oh, we had a lefty heavy eighth inning, so we used Taylor Rogers there. And Justin Topa got the save. And then, that happens again in like 4 or 5 days. And then before you know it, Topa is the closer, or even worse, it's a committee, and like they only get 2 saves a month, and you're carrying Taylor Rogers in a situation where he only gets 2 saves a month. It's terrible. It's not a great situation. So yeah, I don't know. I guess Taylor Rogers, fine.
Yeah, I would take Taylor Rogers if you're looking. Justin Topa is the deep one, but I again, if you can just deal with your saves, but before this point, that's probably the way to go. For what it's worth, Taylor Rogers is good when he pitches. So even if you're carrying him, he's not getting saves. At least you're getting the ratios. The strikeouts aren't necessarily elite, but they're good enough to keep him on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move over to the minor league part, Gray, where would you dare run out a closer for the A's? And who would it be?
Yeah, I like how our whole podcast was all these sexy names, and now we're talking about the worst bullpen.
The grossest names we can possibly find.
From the
we don't do a closers ranking. That's not
from the roses to the grossest.
If you need to know what to do at the top, you can find that in the rankings. This is the bottom, Gray. This is where the gems are going to come from. Somebody in this group is getting 30 saves, some randomly.
No. I don't think so, but I mean, I guess it could happen. But yeah, I wouldn't bet on it. I don't know. I mean, I guess if I had to, I guess Logan Harris or Mark Leader. I guess Mark Leader Jr. or Logan Harris. I mean, I guess Logan Harris would be my first one, I guess. And then Mark Leader would be number 2, but not great.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Mark Leiter Jr. Hollywood Hogan Harris, and then Mark Leiter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Leiter Jr.'s never really been good, and then you stick him in that park. I don't really trust him or want him, even if he is the closer. So I'll take Hollywood Hogan and hope for the best. Because at least, his numbers have been good. Like the last 2 years, his numbers have been very solid. Whip's terrible, but out of a closer, you can deal with that.
Yeah.
So if the A's are bad, Gray, let's move over to the Angels. These are 3 guys who, at least there's guys there who have closed and have been successful like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I think all these bullpens, you have to really ask yourself: is the ulcer worth it? Is the ulcer worth the squeeze? Because these are not going to be fun bullpens to deal with. We'll probably be talking about them all year too.
I might as well just leave these in here, honestly. Just every show, we'll just be back and revisit these same ones over and over again. I probably put the Dodgers in here once they have some kind of injury mishap as well, but we'll leave them off for now.
Yeah. I would guess I want to say Kirby Yates for the Angels. Stevenson, Stevenson doesn't really stay healthy. Probably has the best stuff. Stevenson's probably the most interesting. Kirby Yates feels like the most conservative pick for the closer role, and neither of them, like, we're talking about one guy might get 10 saves and the other guy might get 8. I mean, neither are going to be great. And then there's Drew Pomeranz, who again doesn't really stay on the field. So I don't know, man. I guess Kirby Yates is my probably favorite, and then Stevenson probably second.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on Pomeranz and Stevenson. They're probably not going to stay healthy, and Kirby Yates probably hasn't stayed healthy either. I would say, I kind of am going the other way. I don't even want anything to do with Kirby Yates. He's been absolutely terrible. And I don't think 39 years of age is the time that's going to change. So I think I'll take my shot on Stevenson or Pomeranz, that one of them stays healthy. Pomeranz has the lefty factor, which is not good in a bullpen that has one other lefty, and it's Britt Suter. So it's probably Stevenson if I'm going to take a shot on somebody in this one. But it's pretty gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Gray, a slightly better team because, I mean, there's nowhere to go but up from the Angels. The Rangers are, equally confusing, though, in regards to what they're doing. I mean, this whole group is just, I don't really know. I'm going to give you my best guesses.
I guess Robert Garcia, I have I just drafted Garcia. I feel like if there's one guy who we've talked about, Griffin, Jacks, and Garcia feel like the guys who could potentially emerge from this mess of bullpens that we've talked about today and actually have real value for, even the shallowest of leagues. I like Robert Garcia. Chris Martin is there, and Garcia is the lefties. So it's hard to be completely, pot committed to Garcia, and Chris Martin has been good, and he's been a righty, and he's gotten saves before for them, but never really a large amount of saves. Like last year, Garcia got 9 saves and Martin got 2. So I feel like it's going to be Garcia. I hope so, because I've already drafted Garcia, like I said. So I feel like Garcia is actually a closer, unlike a lot of the guys we've talked about today in these bullpens.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's Garcia, and I do believe that after Griffin, Jacks, and Uceda, if he comes back healthy and is the guy, like he's the guy who could be a closer and give you real numbers that are useful. He is a lefty, as we mentioned. It's not the greatest. It's, again, a very short lefty bullpen. They only have, I think, one other lefty in there. I could see Chris Martin getting a handful, but like you said, they've never really given Chris Martin a bunch of saves, and he's been good. And so I just don't know like where that comes from. I would take Robert Garcia, but I also, again, I don't mind a Chris Martin pickup because, again, a lot of these guys we're talking about are literally, they've got the closer role, but I don't really want them. And Chris Martin's been good. So if he's the closer, I'm okay with him as my closer. Whereas if Kirby Yates is the Angels closer, I will just not have saves rather than pick him up because that just sounds terrible.
That's fair.
One last bullpen, Gray. Arizona. This is another one we dealt with all last season. It's the same names that we dealt with all last season, with the addition of another name to make it even more confusing. Kevin McGonigle, Paul Sewald. I think Ryan Thompson is probably in the mix as well. At least he was last year. What do you think here?
Yeah, this is a mess again. we've emerged from something which I thought was decent with the Rangers, and we've gone back to being a mess. I guess Ginkel, because I don't know. Do I have to come up with a reason? Sewald has been good for other teams. Actually, he was okay on the Diamondbacks in 2024. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's Ginkel or Sewald. I'd probably go Ginkel first, but barely. With no confidence, I'd go Ginkel and then Sewald. But it's one of those two, I think.
I think you're right, but this is another situation where I don't think I really want any part of this one. I don't trust either of them to be good. Like, I could see Cade Stroud, or a name we haven't heard in a bit because he's not played, Jonathan Loaizaga. I could see somebody random coming out of this bullpen to lead them in saves, just because both Ginkel and Sewald are terrible. So again, there's a lot of avoid in this. I think this is another avoid unless you're in a deep enough league where you just absolutely have to chase every single save.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
All right, great. If you have questions, if you have a topic you want us to discuss on the next podcast, since we're not in positional rankings, let us know. I am over on X at Razzbeaton. Gray is the at Razzball account owner. You can find us on youtube.com/Razzball Fantasy or in the comments section on Razzball.com. Good luck in the Razz Slam for everybody in it. And I will talk to you later, Greg.
All right, ladies.